My name is Mac Reed. I'm a member of the Fire Station Building Committee. We have Maria Nealon with us. We have Alan Ford, who's in the audience, who's on our committee also, and our town administrator, Mike Johns. And it looks like we do not have a large group here, so I'm going to probably talk less and ask if there are questions along the way. And I see we have one person in the online. So mostly I wanted to give a little update about what's happening, and also talk a little bit about the October 14th special town meeting. So it seems to me, and seems to us in the Fire Station Building Committee, that there's not much of a question about whether we need a new fire station. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. We know that it was built in the 50s for $4,000, as I understand, and maybe in the 64, another $10,000 was spent on it, and that's pretty much what we have all this time. There are a lot of things that are totally inadequate, a lot of things that aren't safe there. The contaminants that we understand now that we didn't understand in the 60s that need to be controlled are not very well controlled, and it makes it for not a great safe place for our firefighters. So I don't think we need a lot of comment about that, but if there's anybody who has a question about why we need a fire station, we can try to address that. So I ask if it's anybody online who has a question about that, please raise your hand and we'll recognize you. No? Okay. Yes.
To that, if anybody is being recorded, right, and they're still being recorded down at the fire station for anybody who hasn't been in there, they really should answer the question for themselves.
Right. Yes. I'd been in the fire station a number of times before I was on this committee, and but getting a real tour is a eye-opener to see what is there and what is not there. Having our fire chief in a small space with his administrative assistant in the same room, so we can't have private conversations unless he asks the person to leave. Certainly that, and the wiring is just what surprised me, is wires hanging everywhere. There's no room and no secure place for all the technology that's in that building that's necessary these days. So there are a lot of things that just are not good about our station. Yes, I hadn't thought about this as being recorded. Somebody might look at this later. So what are the sites? Yes, if you would. We have had some discussion about 15 or 16 sites, and the committees that were before us also looked at other sites, and we kept narrowing it down, and we've added a couple in the last 6 months. So we have these 4 spaces. So one, of course, is the current location of 502 Mass Avenue. When I got on this committee, I just thought that was a no-brainer, that's where the fire station should be. Our original intent of our committee was to make a decision on the site in the first 2 or 3 months that we were together. And we've quickly realized that we needed more information, and that 502 was not exactly the no-brainer that we originally thought it was. So we spent a lot of time investigating 502. I think our committee was trying to make it work for most of this past fall and winter. So it's town-owned land, it's by the police station, across from the school. All those things are good things. But we found that there are a number of things that are going to cost us more if we build there. One is that there are some constraints because of the lot size, because of the wetlands, and the police station, the proximity to the police station, which depending on where we might build something there, it would constrain the police station from being improved in the future. There's obviously going to be extra time involved in building a firehouse there, because we'll have to move the whole fire department some other place for the time that the fire station is being built. and there's an extra cost to both the time and the moving of all the current fire department. This the swing space, as it's called, has been kind of controversial. There's a question about, we have been questioned about how much it will cost if we move the fire department for 9 months or a year some other place. But I think everyone agrees there is going to be some cost, and it's certainly in the millions of dollars to add to the cost of the project. We also know that because of such a small space, the materials would have to be stored someplace off-site, which adds to the expense and the time involved to build the program. And also, we have come to realize that the program, which is a word that I didn't associate with the firehouse before, but the program is actually the what's in the firehouse for the firefighters. That is going to have to be compromised if we build on 502 because of the lot itself. So there are all these reasons why we said, well, we better keep looking at other places. Then we talked about 72 Stowe Road. We found that to be a good site in many ways, that we could build what we believe we should build for the program on that site. We know the purchase price is $1.2 million. It's owned by the affordable, technically the town, but the Affordable Housing Commission, and they have tried to develop that for low-income housing in the past, and we're not successful at doing that. So they would be interested in the $1.2 million from the town, from one pocket to the other, I guess, so that they can use that for affordable housing projects in other parts of the town. So that's kind of a win-win for the price and also for helping out the Affordable Housing Board. However, we found that because it's in a neighborhood, there is significant opposition from the neighbors. There are two over 55 complexes across the street in Sheriff's Meadow and I forget what. Tisbury Commons, yes, thank you. And then Enclave, which is behind there, and there has been significant pushback from that area, making it not as saleable a location. That is the location that we went to the May 12th annual town meeting. That lost by 12 votes, and there was obviously some confusion about the zoning, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But anyway, there's a lot of opposition to 72 Stowe Road. Next site is 750 Mass Ave and 832. So 750, we know the owner, we know the cost is 1.4 million. We believe that in order to build there, we really need to have the lot next door, which is 832. There is a home there that people live in, and we would have to negotiate the price of that. People have said, well, why don't we just build a smaller firehouse, and then we could fit it on the 750 lot that is for sale. One of the major problems is it is a very narrow lot, and it would mean that there would have to be a common driveway between for both passenger cars and for fire apparatus. And nobody believes that is a good idea, to have cars driving in a driveway where fire trucks may be coming out in an emergency situation. So we believe that we would need the lot next door to make that an acceptable place. It is on Mass Avenue, which is a good thing. There are, however, some poor sight lines there. We have concerns about fire trucks coming out and especially turning left on 111, and it's pretty clear from just common sense as well as from some engineers that we would need traffic lights there to secure the ability of the fire trucks to get out when they needed to get out in a safe way. So there will be obviously an additional cost there, not only the 1.4 million for 750, but some amount for 832, that would have to be negotiated at some point. So that's one of the concerns we have, the extra cost. And the fourth site that we are still investigating is 1300 Mass Avenue. That is out at the corner of 111 and Burroughs Road. There is a brick building on that site. It's just almost before you get to 495. We think it's a good location. It's a flat 7 acres that we believe would support the program and the traffic. There are some issues with the wells that are there that we believe that can be mitigated and resolved. The sight lines are good, and obviously something we don't know really well is the cost of the land. So that again will cost more. So we know that 72 Stowe Road will be the least expensive place to build the firehouse, but that there are objections to that area, and so we're looking at the other 3 sites, and they are going to cost some amount more, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. So I guess I would ask if there are any questions about the sites that we're looking at. If anybody online has a question. Okay, well, moving right along. So there's a special town meeting on October 14th, and we hope that a lot of people will join us and join the town, because that's how democracy works here, that the town meeting is the way that things get resolved in our country, as well as certainly in Boxborough. So just a quick background, at least my understanding, this is it's in some dispute, but back in the early 90s, the zoning laws were recopied by someone, and a significant word was left out, and the word municipal, I believe, was the word that was left out of one line, which technically means that no firehouse can be built anywhere in Boxborough. Now, we understand from at least one attorney that it's possible, without changing any zoning, that we could get an exception to rebuild at 502 Mass Avenue. That's been in some question, but it's a possibility that might be the only place in Boxborough that, at this point, without changing any zoning, that we could build a firehouse. So Article 1 says that public safety buildings could be built in all zone areas. But it's very specific to public safety buildings, and doesn't mean that anything else could be built there, but it just means that the town, if the town so votes, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be built in any specific location. It just means that it can be, and that, again, it's going to be up to the voters, again, to raise the money and say that that's an appropriate place. So the planning board has a motion to change that to allow public safety buildings to be built in all zones. The second article is about the town center. Right now, there are limitations in the town center that do not allow any kind of a building to be built. I meant to look this up, but I think in over 7,000 square feet, 8,000 square feet, and there's a height restriction as well, and by special permit up to 15,000 square feet. So we know that the firehouse is going to be larger than that, somewhere between probably 18 and 20,000 square feet. So there's a second article by the zoning board that will allow a public safety or a firehouse to be built up to 25,000 square feet in the town center. We know that's not going to be close to 25,000 square feet, but that's what the zoning allows. So it would allow only a firehouse. It wouldn't allow any other public building or a private building to be built that large. So those are the two zoning articles that people will be voting on the 14th. So I don't know if there are any questions About that? Still no questions, okay. And the last thing I want to speak about is the Firehouse Building Committee has 2 sense of the meeting articles. And there will be an explanation on the town floor by Mary Brolin, our chair. But I just wanted to mention those 2. The first one relates to the relationship between the location and the cost. So the sense of the meeting is we believe, at least the building committee believes, that the least expensive firehouse can be built at 72 Stowe Road. But we know, as mentioned before, that it is not a popular place because of the neighborhood. So we're asking if voters are going to be willing to pay up to $6 million more to build a firehouse in another part of town, which is primarily would be on Route 111 and not in any neighborhood, because the other 3 places that we're looking at, the other 3 sites, are really not in neighborhoods. So is the town willing to pay more to keep the firehouse out of a neighborhood and put it on 111? So that's one thing that people get to vote on, and it's, again, a sense of the meeting, so it's not a binding vote, but the Fire Station Building Committee will look at that carefully and the vote and see and hear what people have to say on the town floor about that. One thing, we've had, I think, maybe 16, I don't know, 12 forums over the course of the last year, and at every forum, people have said that their number one issue is the cost. And so here's an opportunity for people to say, do you want the cheapest place, which is in a neighborhood, or a place that may be more expensive but not in a neighborhood? Well, you'll have a chance to voice your opinions about that. And the second sense of the meeting vote that the Fire Station Building Committee is putting forward is about, does the town want a green firehouse? So according to our architects and subcontractors, we believe making the firehouse a green firehouse will cost up to and perhaps $1 million more than it would if we don't do that. Obviously, there are a number of green issues that the state requires now to put in any firehouse, and those will have to be done, and those are built into the cost. But there are additional things that can be done for the firehouse to make it more sustainable and more green, and we believe that will cost approximately $1 million more. So we're asking for a sense of that. We know that will bring long-term operational savings. We know that will save money on the long term. It may not be paid back fully, but it will definitely have some payback. The town has voted in the past to be a green community, and as part of our environmental stewardship, and does the town want to continue that with this firehouse? And it's also for the sustainability. So there are reasons why we should do that and could do that, but the negative reason there is the additional cost. So it's coming down to the site location and cost, and you should feel good that our Fire Station Building Committee is committed to both a firehouse that will meet the needs of our fire department, but also be as conservative to the taxpayers as possible. So again, that's it for us. Is there any question from online?
I don't see anything. If anyone online would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. Can you say that in the microphone? I don't know if they can hear me, Matt.
And if there's anybody here that would like to ask a question?
Nope.
I'm sure Les Fox, who is in the audience, knows a lot more than I do about this, so I should be asking him questions, him not asking me questions. So, okay, I guess that's it. Thank you for coming and attending, and we'll look forward to seeing you on October 14th.
Wait.
Yes.
Hi, thanks for all the work you guys are doing on the Fire Station Building Committee. I just noticing the sense of the meeting article number 1, it doesn't refer to a particular site for the non-current site, it just says Mass Avenue. So that in theory would imply that a higher cost is associated with the other sites on Mass Avenue, which really isn't true because we don't even know what that is. So the warrants, I just checked, the warrant's already out, it's printed, and that's the way it reads in the warrant. Maybe when it's moved, you can make that clear that,
No, it's clear.
but that extra cost only applies, well, the up to $6 million is a number based on the current location, extra cost, right?
It's based on comparing with 72 Stowe Road.
Yeah.
We believe that any of the other 3 sites that we're looking at will cost something more, up to $6 million more than.
Okay, well, I thought the 6 million number came from understanding what's required to go to make a fire station fit on the current site, which might go to 2 stories and other
No.
issues, right?
No,
No.
I mean, that's a piece of it.
Okay.
But it's comparing it with the other 3 sites.
Okay, as long as that includes all of that, but,
Yes.
okay, good.
We actually do have a question online, so I'm gonna unmute Althea, and hopefully she can unmute herself. Shoot, I'm sorry, I just muted you again. Can you unmute? There you go.
Hi, I'd just like to ask for clarification with the what was in one of the slides, which said that Mass Ave and 502 Mass Ave and 1300 Mass Ave were in sites already disturbed. Could you explain what already disturbed means? Thank you.
Yes, 502 Mass Ave, our current site, is pretty much paved. The entire, almost the entire area that could be built on has been paved. So it's obviously, it's disturbed in the fact that there's no green, there's no lawn on the majority of the site. Also in 1300, there's a building in the front of that lot, and then the whole back is a parking lot. So, and again, that's been disturbed in terms of it's not natural back there. It's a huge parking lot. So that's what we mean by disturbed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also have another
Wait,
additional question.
I think our town administrator has a comment there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was a good question you asked about, what's that mean being disturbed? And in fact, all 4 of the sites being looked at are previously developed to some degree. As Mac mentioned, the current site is completely paved. The other sites all have buildings already on them. The 700, 750, 832. There are 2 structures on there, so it's disturbed. 1300 Mass Ave is almost completely paved except for the front towards the street, which has a lawn on it, and then a very large commercial building. So that site is disturbed. And then 72 Stowe Road is the least disturbed of the sites, but it does have a home, a garage, and another cottage on that site, so it is partially disturbed, although there are trees in the back of that site.
Thank you. And so I just want to clarify that all the sites are at least partially or fully disturbed then.
Correct.
Thank you. Also, just an additional question about the acquisition cost for the 3 parcels, 72 Stowe Road, 752, 832 Mass Ave, and 1300 Mass Ave. Would the acquisition cost be also laid out at the next meeting, like the specific acquisition cost? I mean, or at least a ballpark figure for the other 3 sites.
Well,
Thank you.
As I mentioned, we know that 72 Stowe Road is 1.2 million, and we know that 750 is 1.4. 850 or 832, we do not know. That needs to be negotiated with the owners who live there, and 1300 also needs to be negotiated. The Fire Station Building Committee will be talking about this at our next meeting next week, and whether we narrow it down to one of those sites, we will be asking our town administrator to start negotiating with those properties to get an exact cost. If we know that by October 13th, obviously that will be publicized to everyone. I don't know if it'll be totally negotiated by then, but you will definitely know as much as we know at that time.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I wanted to add one thing. So this is Mike Johns again. On the Article 4, the sense of the meeting about green construction, while we don't know what the exact payback time will be for using green energy, in other words, geothermal, and going with less fossil fuel, we do know that there'll be a payback, a savings over time. And we wouldn't actually know that until the building's designed. But we do know there'll be a payback. It could be full payback. It could be 10 to 15 years. It could be 30 years. Anything that we say right now would be speculation until the building is actually designed. We do know that it would be in line with the policies and the philosophy that the town has taken as far as green construction, and we do know that there will be energy savings over time. We just don't know the exact payback period or what that percentage of payback would be.
Right. Anything else?
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Has her hand up again?
Oh.
Hold on.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question about the 502 Mass Ave site, about the challenge related to swing space. Could you clarify what that is? Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes. In order to build at 502 Mass Avenue, we'd have to move the fire department away from that spot, tear down that building, and then spend the 18 months or so building a new building there. So the fire department has to continue to exist during that time. So the swing space means where the fire department will operate from during that period of time. And so we've looked at places around town. It means probably moving the DPW as well, and but we need to find places for accommodating the fire department. That we have people who stay over or who sleep there overnight. We need appropriate accommodations for them. We need accommodations for dealing with the contaminants that they deal with. And one of the things I've learned in this process, one of the many things, is that we have because we have no hydrants, or almost no hydrants in Boxborough, we have to have big tanker trucks, and those tanker trucks need to keep water in them all winter long, so they need to be in a heated facility. Also, our ambulance, we have 2 ambulances. They have medications in them that need to be warm year-round. So we need to have enough space that's heated to put these vehicles in for the winter. And again, we need office and sleeping accommodations for the fire department staff. And we've found it's not a cheap thing to find a place for all of the vehicles and the people for a long period of time. And that we've estimated that is maybe $3.9 million. Now, some people don't agree with that, but there's no question it's in the millions of dollars that it will cost to move our fire department for a year and a half out of their space and back into the space on 502.
Thank you. And thanks for letting me know the cost as well, about 3.9 million.
Right.
And thank you for all the hard work that the committee is doing.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Les Fox.
Hi, thanks, Mac. So back to the swing space. That's a very big deal. As you know, on the building committee, we looked at that. It's not just the cost, it's the disruption of operations. Remember, the firefighters live there when they're working. They sleep there, they cook there, it's their home away from home. It'd be like asking them to move home twice to not stay fixed and then move. So finding a place that you're going to finally land at instead is a huge benefit. You know, doing a temporary move is very disruptive to operations, even if you could find a place that physically would fit. So I would give that a high weight as a negative to try to relocate on top of that site. So.
Great, thank you.
My comment. If I could comment also on 1300 Mass Avenue. You've noted that there's some issues around wells and septic. Keep in mind, one of the things about the septic system there is it's designed for a fully occupied office building, the one that you see there now. So it has a pretty large septic system and an outfall field that's about 1,300 feet east on Mass Avenue. That would not necessarily need to be redeveloped for a small fire station. Their needs for septic are much more modest, and it's possible it could be contained on the same site, on the same parcel that contains the building you see. So that's a benefit in terms of weighing costs. That it's not going to be as bad as you might think. That's my belief. So just in case anyone wants to dig into that, you might want to keep that in mind. So.
Right. What we've determined to follow up on that, Les, is that there are 2 public water supplies on that space, and we understand from our subcontractor that you can have a private well on a space with a building that has less than 25 people on it 4 days a week for 4 months at a time. So we know that there are never more than 10, we shouldn't say never more, but there on a regular basis, there aren't more than 10 people at the firehouse during the day, and fewer than that at night, obviously. So we believe that you could consider having a private well for that facility, which would be a lot, give us a lot more flexibility on the lot than we would have with these 2 public wells.
Absolutely. Those wells are sized as a public water supply system to supply that building fully occupied. You don't need that. In fact, the old fire station, the current fire station, before we hooked it up to the Hager well system, had its own well. So you don't need a public water system for a fire station. Just a private well like you have at home, your own home, would be fine. So that's a huge benefit in terms of thinking about what needs to change. That's not a big deal.
Right. Thank you.
We have another question online.
Okay, another question? Could you identify yourself, please?
Sure.
Oh,
It's Alethea Tan, Wade Road. I just have a question about the Stowe Road and 750, 832 Mass Ave and 1300 sites. Is there potential there for the police station to be there as well? Is there enough space on these sites in terms of other public safety buildings to be built? Because I know that the space is very limited on 502 Mass Ave. I mean, the police station is already next door, but that's a question that I have. If the other sites outside of 502 Mass Ave have potential for other public safety buildings. Thank you.
well, whether they do or not, the thing that we've heard the most in town is people want the fire station across from the school. I mean, the police station, I'm sorry, across from the school. So I think wherever the firehouse ends up, I don't think there will be interest in moving the police station. Just people like it where it is, and if the firehouse is not built on 502, there will be room to expand the police station in the future on that site. So I don't think that would be considered.
Thank you. But I have another question about the 502 Mass Ave site with regards to the wetlands. What so far have been the issues with the wetlands encroaching on that space? Thank you.
I'm not sure. Mike, would you think you could respond to that better than me? I'm sure.
Sure. So we had to bring an application in front of the Conservation Commission, and they looked at it as far as delineating where the wetlands are and what would have to be done to construct a new firehouse on that. And while it is possible to construct a new, larger station on 502 Mass Ave, the wetlands have further encroached from the last time it was delineated, which means that it pushes any construction of a new fire station closer to the police station, which would then limit any further construction or expansion of the police station, which we already know is a future need. Again, it is possible, but the wetlands, what I can say from my own observation as well as constant observations from the fire department members, is that when there's heavy rains, water comes up through the drainage grates in the apparatus bay, and my understanding is that from where they used to cut the grass behind the fire station, there was about a 10 or 12 foot area that they used to mow, and now that water is almost up to the telephone pole or the utility pole behind the station, where it's encroached. It looks like possibly up to 10 feet from a member who has been on the department about 20 years, and we don't think that's going to recede. So I think that kind of covers it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, well, we hope to see you all on October 14th, and and we'll get a sense of how we should proceed from here. So, thank you.
Okay, we're all set. Oh, and we do have an information session on September 29th
Oh,
at the library from 5 to 7 p.m. And that will be 5 to 8 p.m. And that will be for the entire fall town meeting warrant.
Maybe we'll send that in case he wasn't
oh,
here.
yes, on September 29th at the library from 5 to 8 p.m. There will be people there addressing all of the town meeting warrant for the October 14th town meeting, special town meeting. And so there'll be a lot of information there that people will be able to answer your questions about all the articles in the warrant. So that will be a good place to prepare for the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. So we're all set?
All set?